Welcome to Verity Tales, where we dive deep into the fascinating histories of countries around the world. Today, we journey to the land of the long white cloud, New Zealand. From its first settlers to its emergence as a modern nation, let's explore the rich tapestry of New Zealand's past. The story of New Zealand begins with the arrival of the first people, the Polynesians. These skilled navigators arrived in ocean-going waka, or canoes, in several waves approximately between 1280 and 1350 CE. Isolated in New Zealand, these Polynesian settlers developed a unique culture, later known as the Maori. An early European interpretation of Maori oral tradition suggested that the heroic explorer Cook discovered New Zealand around 750 CE. However, it's now widely accepted that significant settlement occurred around 1350 CE, possibly as part of a coordinated migration from Hawaii in eastern Polynesia. Modern archaeological evidence supports this timeline, with the oldest human remains and artifacts dating back to just after the eruption of Mount Tarawera in 1314 CE. Radiocarbon dating and genetic studies of Maori populations suggest that eastern Polynesians first settled in New Zealand between 1250 and 1300 CE. Whether or not there were earlier settlers, the main wave of migration likely happened in the following decades, shaping the distinct Maori culture. Some Maori later migrated to the Chatham Islands, developing the unique Moriori culture. Tragically, an 1835 invasion by Maori from New Zealand resulted in the near extinction of the Moriori people. The first known encounter between Maori and Europeans was in 1642, when Dutch explorer Abel Tasman arrived. This meeting was hostile, resulting in the death of 4 of Tasman's crew. It wasn't until British explorer James Cook arrived in 1769 that the entire coastline of New Zealand was mapped. Following Cook's visit, New Zealand became a destination for European and North American whalers, sealers, and traders. The introduction of European goods, such as metal tools and weapons, as well as the potato, had a profound impact on Maori society. The potato provided a reliable food surplus, which enabled more prolonged military campaigns. This led to the Musket Wars, a series of over 600 battles between 1801 and 1840, resulting in significant loss of life among the Maori. Christian missionaries arrived in the early 19th century, gradually converting most of the Maori population to Christianity. Despite these changes, the Maori population declined significantly due to diseases brought by Europeans. In 1832, James Busby was appointed as the British resident to New Zealand, tasked with protecting settlers and traders and maintaining order. The United Tribes of New Zealand declared independence in 1835, seeking protection from the British Crown amidst fears of French colonization. This declaration and ongoing unrest led to the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi in 1840. The Treaty of Waitangi, first signed in the Bay of Islands, marked the beginning of British sovereignty over New Zealand. As the treaty circulated for additional Maori signatures, Captain William Hobson declared British sovereignty over all of New Zealand. This declaration, coupled with the influx of British immigrants, significantly shaped the future of the nation. New Zealand was administered as a dependency of the colony of New South Wales until it became a separate Crown colony, the Colony of New Zealand, on May 3, 1841. This marked the beginning of New Zealand's journey towards self-governance and national identity. Armed conflict between the colonial government and the Maori began in 1843 with the Wairau Fray, sparked by land disputes and disagreements over sovereignty. These conflicts, mainly in the North Island, saw thousands of imperial troops and the Royal Navy deployed to New Zealand, and they became known as the New Zealand Wars. Following these conflicts, the government confiscated large areas of Maori land to meet settler demands. In 1852, New Zealand gained a representative government, and the first parliament met in 1854. By 1856, the colony effectively became self-governing, with control over all domestic matters except native policy, which was granted in the mid-1860s. Concerns that the South Island might form a separate colony led to the decision to move the capital from Auckland to Wellington in 1865, due to its central location. In 1886, New Zealand annexed the volcanic Kermadec Islands, located about 1,000 kilometers northeast of Auckland. These islands have been mostly uninhabited since 1937, but they play a significant role in extending New Zealand's exclusive economic zone under the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. In 1891, the Liberal Party became the first organised political party to gain power in New Zealand. Under the leadership of Richard Seddon, the Liberal government introduced many important social and economic reforms. In 1893, New Zealand became the first nation in the world to grant all women the right to vote. The Liberals also pioneered compulsory arbitration between employers and unions and established a minimum wage in 1894. In 1907, King Edward VII proclaimed New Zealand a dominion within the British Empire, reflecting its self-governing status. This status was further solidified in 1947 when New Zealand adopted the Statute of Westminster, ensuring that the British Parliament could no longer legislate for the country without its consent. The Constitution Act 1986 removed any remaining legislative powers of the British government, and in 2003, final rights of appeal to British courts were abolished. Throughout the early 20th century, New Zealand was actively involved in world affairs, participating in both world wars and enduring the Great Depression. The economic hardships of the Depression led to the election of the first Labour government, which established a comprehensive welfare state and a protectionist economy. Following the Second World War, New Zealand experienced increasing prosperity, and many Maori moved from their traditional rural life to cities in search of work. This migration sparked a Maori protest movement that sought greater recognition of Maori culture in the Treaty of Waitangi. In 1975, the Waitangi Tribunal was established to investigate breaches of the treaty, and it was given the power to investigate historical grievances in 1985. The government has since negotiated settlements with many iwi, though Maori claims to the foreshore and seabed have remained controversial. The history of New Zealand is a story of conflict, adaptation, and progress. From its first settlers to its pioneering social reforms and ongoing quest for justice, New Zealand continues to evolve as a nation. Thank you for joining us on this journey through New Zealand's history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating tales from history. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the fascinating history of New Zealand, grab a copy of our detailed book version, link in the description. Packed with rich insights and captivating stories, it's a must-read for history enthusiasts.